98.7 WFGR, that is Badfinger and Day After Day. Andy O, Dave Cackley, it is 8:26. We promised you a little culture on the show.
Yes.
Between us throwing barbs back and forth at each other. We got Megan Distal in here from Broadway GR.
Good morning.
Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm great.
You loosening up a little bit?
I am.
I saw you over there on Andy Rent's show, and I know
I'm
that's
doing
kind
the
of
rounds.
I know it's kind of like you got to button your collar all the way up on his show. And
no, Andy's great.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
Did he try to sell you a dog? Because they give away a lot of like cats and dogs on that show.
Freebies.
Yes, I think
no,
he's not giving away
this
dogs and cats. He's doing the pet adoption.
That's
thing.
That's what I was saying.
I have
trying
a dog.
to sell
I'm
you a
good.
dog.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Talk about Broadway GR a little bit. You guys have been around now. How long has Broadway GR been going?
We've been here 26 years.
Wow.
It's hard to believe.
Amazing.
Started out as Broadway Theater Guild.
Yep.
Name change a few years ago, Broadway Grand Rapids. And we bring in the professional Broadway touring shows, that come out of New York City where some of the actors have been on Broadway and then want to hit the road for a while to see the country. And so we're, on the stop. The shows go to Chicago and Cleveland and Denver and all these big cities. And Grand Rapids is where you can see professional quality.
It's made the list.
It has.
It really has. It's come so far. I remember going to see the occasional Broadway show as a kid with my mom.
Yeah.
And, you'd go see Annie. And you go see things like that. And they were all good and great, but it just wasn't a regular happening. And now you guys got a whole series.
Well, and that's what we want people to see is that this is part of the culture down here. It's an attraction for Grand Rapids because, we want people to feel like they have this in their backyard. They don't have to go to Chicago or New York and spend that money, but yet they can still see that same quality show here. So the program has really developed into typically we have 6 to 8 performances per year.
That's a good series, though.
Yeah. We've got our series shows, and then we usually have a few special events, and we try to really mix it up so that we have things that appeal to younger audiences, also families. We always want to have a good family show, some classic Broadway, and, some kind of tried and true things. So
staples.
Yeah. So it's a balancing act, and we have to look at what's on tour, what's available, in the spots. So, and they look at
routing.
Where the routing exactly.
Yeah. Routing's the word that they use to figure out who can go where and when, and how to maximize crowds and cities and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a big puzzle. And then, of course, the touring production teams, they look at the market. Hey, hey, Jersey Boys did pretty well there, so let's put another big one. So it's great when the city comes out to support it. We can get better shows year after year.
Now, the Jersey Boys was the last show that you guys had through. It did good.
It did great.
Yeah.
It did great. It
nice
was
guys too. They even came by and did our stupid little sign thing.
Yeah,
they did.
Nice.
Remember?
They were so nice, and that show is like running a marathon. I mean, it truly it's so much vocal work and dancing, and they are on. Those 4 guys are just nonstop, and they were so gracious and great coming out and doing interviews all around and meeting people.
That had to be exhausting.
I think it was just watching them. I mean, it really is, and you don't have to be a fan of the Four Seasons to enjoy that show. That's another one that really has a storyline like behind it. You're like, wow, I didn't know this about the Four Seasons, and then the music is this huge bonus because you're like, oh, they sang that too.
What's the next big show coming?
We've got West Side Story coming November 12th.
Really?
Yeah. So
very exciting. Talk about West Side Story now. If nobody's ever seen West Side Story,
Right.
I have not seen West Side Story. It's
No,
one of those.
that's
We're talking off the air. That's one of those shows that I should have seen by now.
Right.
Give us the Cliff's Notes version.
Well, Romeo and Juliet. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes,
for
of
400
course.
years, this story has been retold over and over because it's a classic love story. Star-crossed lovers, and instead of feuding families, we've got 2 rival gangs, Polish immigrants and Puerto Rican immigrants. One kind of in New York City has set in the 1950s, and as you can know from Romeo and Juliet, one of each kind of they fall in love, Maria and Tony, and it's a tragedy, just like Romeo and Juliet. And what has happened is the story's been out for 50 years. West Side Story.
Is it 50 years old?
50 years.
Oh my God.
Debuted on Broadway actually in 1957, and then the movie was out. So it's been around for a long time. People say it changed the face of musical theater because it was just so compelling. The music, the lyrics, the score, everything about it, and the dancing.
Yeah.
And we were talking again before right before, just about the fact the story is, it's it's for everybody. I mean, I shouldn't say it's for everybody. It's not for kids in a way, because there is a lot of adult themes in it. And
so I can't bring my 3-year-old to this.
Don't bring your 3-year-old. Probably not.
Max has to stay home.
Some gunshots.
Okay.
And,
he does like guns, though.
Why would you bring a 3-year-old to a play?
You want to broaden his horizons.
You know what? This is what's wrong with parenting today.
Right. Yeah.
No other person wants your 3-year-old in a play.
I just threw it out there.
Right. But I will say that it has been updated. They wanted to give this, since 1950s is when it's set, they wanted to kind of take away some of that stereotypical, give it a little less sugar coating.
Right. Less campy.
Yeah, exactly. And so they've infused it with a lot more Spanish. Okay. Not a ton, but to give, more authenticity to the Puerto Ricans. And they've just given it, it's still very relevant when you look at race relations and things that happen amongst our youth today all over. So it's a very relevant story. It's very, it's a tragic love story.
So West Side Story opens up when again?
November 12th for 8 performances at DeVos Place, right over at DeVos Hall.
Yep.
Yeah, and
talk about the rest of the season too.
We're going to be gearing up for a big Cirque holiday show.
Ooh.
So that's going to be great for families.
Cirque du Soleil type thing.
It's like a Cirque du Soleil. This one's called Cirque Dreams Holidays, and it's basically your winter wonderland coming alive on stage. And there's over 20 acts, over 300 costumes. So this is a full-scale Cirque show. Yep. You'll see all the acrobatics and all of the feats that kind of amaze you. But it's set to a Christmassy winter wonderland theme. I don't want to say just Christmas. So
wait till Cindy hears this.
Oh, great! Yeah,
guess who's going to be buying? Guess who's going to be buying tickets?
You're there, front and center.
Now that one, if you have kids, that one is great. And we have it's December 26th through the 29th. But we actually are doing a couple of kids performance. Special events where we'll have the performers in the lobby an hour ahead of time.
Okay.
It's on the 26th, Thursday night, and then Saturday matinee. And you can learn how to plate spin and hula hoop. And so the actual performers are going to be teaching kids in the lobby.
Oh,
and
that's really cool.
Free. It's just part of coming in and
Now, when you say kids, what are the age ranges?
I would really say if you had a 3-year-old that had an attention span, the show has 2 45-minute acts. So if you can sit for 45 minutes, you'll be really mesmerized. I mean, a child would be.
So much going on.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we typically say 5 and above just because that's sort of an average age you can sit through a show like that. But if your 3 or 4-year-old can handle that. But
Max is pretty advanced. Yeah. He can sit through movies, so he could sit through.
Yeah.
He poops in a closet.
Yeah.
Well, he's not exactly what you call advanced.
He is 3. He just says 3.
He likes his privacy, and that's where the books are kept.
Right.
So we wish you the best. I mean, this sounds like exciting stuff. Stop in anytime. If you're over there, pop in and say hi to us.
Yeah. I will for sure. It's fun.
Yeah, well, good luck. It's a West Side Story next, and then we're off to Christmas with Broadway.
Right, BroadwayGrandRapids.com.
Fantastic.
Well, check it out. Megan, thanks so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks
All
for
right,
having
take
me.
care. Yeah, you bet.